Hello everyone and welcome back to Causeless Gaming. Today we are going to take a look at Battletoads. This action fighter game is a remake of a game that is almost 30 years old. It promises over-the-top action with hand-drawn graphics. Whether it can deliver on its promise is the question we will try to answer today. Battletoads is available on Steam for €19.99, the original equivalent. Last week, I sort of complained about the fact that remakes, remasters, and other kinds of retro games seem to be making at least half of the available gaming market. So, you might be surprised when the very next week, I'm reviewing another remake. But this remake just fascinates me. Just, who would have ever guessed that Battletoads will be the kind of game that will be remade ever? Because if you look at it, it makes no sense at all. An almost 30-year-old game that was silly as heck, trying to capitalize on the popularity of Teenage Ninja Turtles, and was, well, bad. Its controls were bad, and it was almost absurdly difficult. So, let's see whether the second attempt does do better. Let's start simple. Yes, the new Battletoads game is much better. So much more better. The very word that summarizes the first impressions of Battletoads is nostalgia. The very atmosphere that breathes at you when you first see is the same you had as a child when you watched Saturday morning cartoons. Seriously, I can easily imagine playing Battletoads on one monitor and watching DuckTales on the other. This is because Battletoads comes with a simple, stylized, hand-drawn graphic style. And the story is simple, straight, but paradoxically, this makes it work. The beat-em-up genre isn't really made to tell stories, and nobody gives a damn about a story in beat-em-ups. But somehow, Battletoads' story makes you care. The same way Saturday's cartoons made you care, even if their stories were simple. The heroes here are three toads, which you might have guessed, which still do look like a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but at the very least now they come with their own personalities. And you get to make a choice whether you want to play as the cool Rash, the sensitive giant Pimple, or as the leader Zitz. The three toads work well off each other in both the cutscenes and in co-op play. The dialogues are short, to the point, and more importantly, funny. The fact that Battletoads' primary target audience are families that want to play cooperatively with their kids is very obvious, even from the fact that it's much more simple than the original. And the easiest difficulty can be easily finished even by young kids, which is very good. And what is even better, if you know the history of Battletoads, then you get a lot of inside jokes that make fun of the original. The combat in the new Battletoads is not really that complex, but if you play on the hard difficulty, you will need to learn a pretty good number of things. There are a few basic attacks that can be combined into combos, and each of the toads has its own special final attack, and you will need those against both the regular tons of mobs you will encounter, and especially against the bosses. Plus, each of the toads is different in how he plays. Zitz is small and agile, giving fast attacks, and on the other hand, Pimple is large, so his attacks do a lot of damage, but are considerably slower. And to nobody's surprise, Rash is somewhere in the middle. Not fast, but not slow either. And with all of them, you get to kick, punch, even grab the enemies with your tongue. But the funniest ability is to root your enemies with a bug bubblegum. And doesn't that sound like exactly from a Saturday morning cartoon? The higher difficulties obviously are harder. But remember, you're no filthy casual, right? So, on hard modes, enemies come at you from all sides from the very beginning, almost making the screen feel crowded at times. Yet, I really have to commend the developers, because somehow, even in these situations, the battle is just clear. You always know what's going on. This is helped by an indicator that shows enemies getting ready to attack. And you're gonna need the indicator at the very least in the boss fights. And as I think of it, so far, I really sound really positive, don't I? but there are a few flaws in Battletoads. The biggest one for me was the lack of variability in the enemies. They all look very similar, and while it seems there are different ones, really there are only 4 types. Melee attackers, blocking enemies, ranged enemies, and these little bursting guys. And that's really a shame, because I would love to see the same creativity that was spent on the graphics being spent on the enemies as well. So, in conclusion, Battletoads is nostalgia gamified. If you loved watching cartoons such as DuckTales as a kid, and you're in the mood for feeling like that, then yeah, Battletoads is a great choice. And it's also a good choice if you want to play something fun that's a beat-em-up game with your friends or with your children. So if you're in that mood, Battletoads is a great buy. So, that's it for today, guys. I hope you liked the review, and if you do, please consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and you know, all that stuff. But the one thing that really does help is sharing the video with all your friends. And be sure to comment if you have anything you would like to add. See you guys later with more gaming content.